Hi, everyone, and welcome back to SOS Stories of Survivors. I'm your host, Serina Dansker, and this is a space where we lean on each other for courage and resilience during sometimes the darkest times of our lives. And today, I am so excited for you to meet my guest, Christine Neidhart. Her story is one that is going to just blow you away. Imagine welcoming a new baby into your home only to learn that your child had a life altering brain condition. Now, that's really like just heartbreaking. And then a few years later, to have your spouse suffer a debilitating stroke. Well, this is the path and the burden that Christine has carried. But she was a former nurse, and her instinct has always been to take care of others. But when the crisis entered her home, she transformed this pain into purpose. And she's going to share her journey and how she did that and how she now leads a thriving business with Arbonne. It's a wellness business, and she's guiding women through every stage of life with honest and health centered care. Christine, welcome. I'm so happy to have you.
Hi, Serena. Thank you for having me. Happy
Uh,
to be here.
oh my gosh. So, we're going to just grab a cup of tea, take a breath, and let's talk about what your story is. I mean, I've known you for a number of years, Christine, and I still, my heart like just breaks. And I'd like you to talk about when we go back to just your life before, when you were starting your family, and look back on that day when you had your second child, and what memories or feelings come into play. And maybe we'll start there.
Um, well, with every birth, it was joy, excitement, and all the wonderful things you're imagining, and we were very happy. And until we weren't. By the time he was born, and no one suspected any issues or anything.
Your second child, right? He was your second.
Right, that he was born a week before his due date, and everyone thought everything was fine, but he was having these little jerky things, like a little almost like hiccup it looked like, and they thought it was GERD. Started treating him for GERD, and I really wasn't sure. I had a little toddler at home, a new baby. I was recovering from a C-section, and
Yeah.
by the time about within a couple of weeks after that, then he wound up having a full-blown seizure that obviously we had called the doctor, and we about 2 weeks time spent in the hospital. We were finally giving some sort of diagnoses, and our whole world changed.
Wow. Wow. So that's just crazy. So just to, I mean, I gave birth to triplets, and I know what high risk pregnancy is like as we get older. They are constantly monitoring you. I'm sure you were monitored during your pregnancy,
Yep.
and the doctor, everything seemed normal.
Yep, no one suspected anything. There were no issues, so we were all kind of blindsided when on his hospitalization. They did images, to find out with the seizure is a standard thing,
Right.
and they had me sit down, and once they showed me his images and told me what had happened, yeah,
Well, as a nurse, you get it. You understand
yeah,
all of that.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh. And how I can't even imagine how I know when hearing bad news about a child, it's gut wrenching. It is. So what was your first thought? I mean, did you just decide, you know what, we're gonna just
That's kind of what at first I couldn't move. I mean, I was numb, like literally, not like, literally, figuratively. I gathered myself, from the doctor telling me that he might not survive, he might not be able to feed himself, walk, talk, anything. So we spent that. It was like literally like a 2-week time in the hospital. So by the time we got home, they already had early intervention set up. Our house all of a sudden got turned upside down with therapists and everybody coming in constantly to help. Changed everything. And now my, little 1.5-year-old, he's like, what? He doesn't know any different. Um, and it was just a path from there. But, thank God now, he's a teenager now, believe it or not. And he's shooting hoops, getting 3-pointers. He's
Wow. So you
swimming.
had the resources. So you had a team, right? So,
You,
yeah, so I'm going to take it back to the beginning. So you had a
yeah.
team, and how did that shape your daily routine? Everything.
I wish I had a handbook to kind of help that. And I'm hoping this will help somebody else out there because it was a bit of chaos trying to navigate, a brand new baby with a toddler, having therapists in the house 6 days a week, 4 different therapists on the therapist schedule, not your schedule.
Who
Trying to,
coordinated all? Oh, did you coordinate it all?
yeah, but between the therapist and our family and trying to get it together,
Wow.
my husband, trying to, do the grocery shopping and stuff while I'm trying to, manage them. And, so it was a lot of, thank God, my husband is a wonderful partner and we were able to, balance each other. Our family is absolutely amazing. We had friends step up, point us in the right direction with resources. I had, a couple of, different, books and other things that, helped get the right mindset, because setting that mindset was a big thing too, because I didn't have the right mindset immediately. Even being a healthcare provider, it's still like, whoa, you
Well,
don't
yeah.
know until you know it.
You don't know anything, and because it was such a rare brain condition,
Yes.
there wasn't a lot of information out there, right?
No, not many people in the world are diagnosed with such a thing.
What,
And
what's it called? What he has
Well,
called?
he has an agenesis of his brain where part of the brain just is not even there. And the part that's there is constantly shooting off activity to cause seizures. So like your brain is always sparking, different, the neurons, I don't know, I don't want to get too technical, but if it doesn't have a place to connect to, it's looking for that connection, and then that will trigger a seizure.
Oh,
So he was having these, all the time. And we're still actually, just before I got on here with you, we were booking his next EEG because he has to still get constant, hospitalizations and monitoring, medication monitoring, and all that kind of stuff. But where was I going? Yes. So it's very rare, but because of that, it's almost like he had a stroke in utero. And the symptoms or that result, like he has a full hemiparesis, so half his body does not work quite as well as the other half. Luckily, with all those resources and braces and training and exercises and physical therapy, he's able to walk and do other things that no one else expected him to do. So
I mean, this must, you picture motherhood as being one way. How did this change how you viewed motherhood? I mean, it's crazy, right?
it is really, really crazy. And I wrote down the poem, Welcome to Holland by Emily Pearl Kingsling. If anybody out there knows anybody who's new to this special community, or has, some kind of diagnosis or something different with their child, it almost applies to any aspect of life where it's about preparing and preparing and preparing for something with anticipation, and all of a sudden, boop, you get thrown, in a different direction.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's a new reality, and you got to learn, a whole new world, a whole new language, a whole new community, even because it's good and bad. The community, you see who comes through and who shrinks away, because it is a difficult thing for some people to handle. Some friends that became stronger friends and some friends that drifted away. So
It's true. I see that too in my world, I mean, with losing my son, and I don't think it's personal. I think just people handle things differently.
yes.
And some know, they want to be involved and come to the forefront and be there for you. And there's others that it's truly out of their wheelhouse. They just don't know how, or the right things to do or say.
Yeah.
Oh,
I always say you can never say the wrong thing to the right person, and you can never say the right thing to the wrong person kind of a thing, so just if you feel it in your heart, just say it. They know it's from the heart.
Oh, I love that. I do. I mean, many parents describe a moment when the doctor's, words just blur together and the room goes silent. And, you found your footing, pretty quickly, I think, after that. Do you think it had to do with your training as a nurse, or just your the tiger, the bear inside of you, the mama bear? What do you
Well,
think?
I think we all have that mama bear, yeah. But I'm very comfortable in a hospital. I mean, I've been a hospital staff nurse for like 20 plus years, gosh, 25, before I stepped away from the bedside. Yeah, crazy. And so I'm very, very comfortable in there. Where like my husband is like, he steps one foot into the hospital and he starts having a panic attack. He hates hospitals, which is
Yeah.
funny. Um, but yes, I was. It's a very comfortable environment for me to be in a hospital, and then so that probably did take an edge off, and probably was a little bit easier for
Well,
me.
to the lingo too that was going on. To me, that is all Greek, the medical profession and the name of the medications and the drugs and the diseases. I can't. But yeah, so talk a little bit about that, and how did your toddler? I mean, as they're growing together, how is that impacting him?
I think we still, even to today, have conversations about that, and because he didn't know any different then, and as he got older and he started noticing, actually the community we're in, the school district, we specifically moved here for their programs because they have like in our entire state, where we are has like the best interventions available for you. So a lot of his neurotypical, as they call them, classes had a lot of, as they call them, push-in kids, which are kids with needs, into the classes. So he has been exposed to that his whole entire life.
Oh wow.
Unfortunately, the program that my child needed was in a different elementary school than my other child, so it was kind of weird having two kids like a year and a half apart in two different elementary schools, two different times, so that was a little craziness too.
And you had to
Um,
juggle that too, I'm sure.
yeah. So it's like it's having kids in like elementary school, middle school, high school, that's normal. But having two elementary school kids in different things because all the activities are the same day. And anyway, um, he had that exposure. But at the same time, also sometimes his friends would invite him to things, and I couldn't take him because we had a therapy session, or there was something, or I have to get your brother here or there, or and then sometimes it was uncomfortable for the other parents. So sometimes he missed out on some things, but I
Mm.
think he also, I mean, of course, I think he's amazing, but I think he's even that much more like well-rounded of a human being because he has that extra empathy and that extra understanding of people in general, whether they're neurotypical, special, anything. He's got a special edge to him now.
That's amazing. I mean, I think the way you showed him, the how to relate to someone who needs, special attention, and I think he just probably followed your leadership. You're amazing, Christine. I tell you, and I know that a few years later that your husband suffered a debilitating stroke when you're already carrying so much. So I mean, how did this impact you? I mean, I'm sure it was, heart wrenching again. And how old were the kids when this happened? How much time had passed? And um,
Um, so they're middle school and high school now when this first happens. But we were sort of preparing for it, as sad as it is, like not in a way like backstory.
yeah, yeah,
Weeks,
yeah.
weeks before we got married, actually, we're married 26 years now. I can't believe we're having anniversary.
Oh, congratulations.
um, he had spinal surgery. Little did we know he had spinal cancer, chordoma. Again, a
No,
weird thing. That was my husband, but he recovered, and we lived life like for 10 years, like thinking, oh, and that should have been my alert, like always be prepared for something. But thank God that all resolved and we were fine. Then COVID happened, and the whole world, everybody's lives got turned upside down. But then my husband got a cancer diagnosis then for lung cancer. And it was totally not connected to the spinal cancer or anything. Thank goodness that turned out okay. We were able to do surgery and resolve from that. So,
Wow.
um, about a year after his lung surgery, we all wound up getting the flu. No, I've never had the flu in my entire life. None of us ever did. We all got really sick, and my husband, me and my older son were feeling better. We went out to get dinner, have a family home movie night, and we came home. And my husband said, shortly after dinner, we're getting ready to watch a movie, and he said, "I think I'm having a stroke." And I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what? I did a quick stroke assessment as I was calling 911, and he failed his stroke assessment, and ambulance was there already, and we went
Oh,
to the hospital.
he
So
knew the symptoms of it.
yeah, and we were ready to watch a movie together as a family. So my older son, of course, because he already has, like I said, he's special. He's super in his own way. Both my kids are special. Right away, he took his younger brother, to the other side of the house, and he's like, "Okay, what do you need me to do, Mom? While the ambulance crew is coming in and stuff, and separate." So they were like, it was like right in their face.
Wow.
And it was rough because he had a couple of massive strokes all that night, and we weren't sure where it was going to go. He was on life support for quite a while, in the
Wow.
hospital for a while, and then in rehab for a couple of months, and then finally home. So our life, we're still we're still trying to figure it out, because he still needs a lot of help, and very dependent on all of us, and that's not like him. He's usually never in the house for more than 8 hours, and that includes his sleep time. He's always on the go, always doing something. So for him, it's a lot for him to take, for the kids to see their dad. Um, and when Dad's feeling a little bit down about that he's not himself, even my little one says, "Dad, you're all that we need the way you are." Like the amazing things that comes out of his mouth,
Oh, I love
help
that.
you, you know.
Oh, that is so sweet. Oh my gosh. I was going to act, what acts of kindness, or was there a particular act of kindness, big or small, that reminds you that you're not alone in all of this?
Yeah. Well, I mean, my kids have been amazing, stepping up and working through it, through all their activities. One thing was really nice. Out of the blue, one of my husband's friends from like elementary school, high school, you lose contact with, that good person, stepped up out of nowhere to help make our house handicap accessible.
Wow.
Yeah, because there was no way of getting my husband in the house when he came home from the hospital. So we had to do a couple of modifications, and he stepped right up and offered. I was like, oh my goodness. Like, it was, yeah, I can't thank him enough. So I'm really glad they're reconnected now. And it's wonderful. Just, I mean, and so many people that stepped up and helping, with meals and other things. We were running back and forth, because even then, when we got him home from the hospital, we still had to take him to therapy, and
Sure.
just like I do with my younger son, but all outpatient, and lugging a wheelchair and everything else, and all the
That's,
equipment.
and then you still have the younger son that you're still taking to places. So this is
And
just
still doing therapies, and
there.
yeah,
Yes, and there's angels that walk among us.
yeah.
I definitely believe.
Even my one son now, he in high school, he's going to be ready to go to college soon, and one of our neighbors, amazing, stepping up, trying, okay, well, what can I do to help you? Have you picked out got your list together yet? Have you got your letter together yet? And it's just wonderful knowing these people are there, and yeah.
That's going to make me cry. That's beautiful. That's so, I mean, it's lovely that you have community, and where you live, it's a testament to the family that you guys are, and people want to help. They really do. Um, do you have a particular practice like journaling, or going to church, or some kind of mindfulness that helps you keep your sanity?
I do. I try to journal, but I always wind up falling asleep before I could finish a sentence. I try to write about the end of the day, and the beginning of the day, it's like, Mom, and I don't. So, it's like, oh, I look back like, wow, it's been 3 months since I wrote, but I do. Every day, I pray constantly all the time. I truly thank God every day for all our blessings that we have. I mean, everybody has something. We have this, you know, no one's life is easier or harder. It's the life that you've been blessed with. And um, yeah, but so prayers, walking in the fresh air, whether it's freezing cold or, boiling hot, I try not to, but I will bundle up and get out in the freezing cold and get out for a good walk is always my
It's
saving
good.
grace.
Yeah, it clears the head when you walk, I find that too. I miss my dog. He passed, and I used to just like to just walk with him and just, this way I get the fresh air, and it helps clear the cobwebs out,
It does. It does.
really does. Now, I know you've changed from being your career as a nurse to an entrepreneur. And so, when did you first feel the pull to transition from nursing to Arbonne? And can you talk about what Arbonne is and all of that?
All right. Well, it's kind of a loaded question when I felt the pull. Um, I mean, every once in a while, every nurse out there knows that's like, oh my gosh, I'm leaving, But like I said, I was there for so many years. And I loved, I mean, labor and delivery. I mean, there you are for the once in a lifetime experience with a family, amazing. And I made this switch from labor and delivery to risk because I injured my wrist. I couldn't even spike IV bag, like trying to help mom. I physically couldn't do it. So during that recovery time, I went where I had previous experience working in risk management. So there was a position. I said, perfect. I switched over, which was great. And just a couple months later, COVID hit. So it's like, okay, wow, that was like really good time on my part, or I was doing, working from a computer instead of that at that
Yes,
time.
exactly.
Yeah. And everything went well, but then my husband got sick with his lung cancer, and I think it might be to the day or the month after he got diagnosed with lung cancer that I found Arbonne. Like I had been looking for something to feel better. I had tried so many different programs, did so many different things, and when I found Arbonne, it's like a holistic health and wellness company from the inside out. Like everybody talk about gut health is like the biggest, latest. Your gut is your second brain, or maybe it's your first brain, and your brain is your second brain, kind of. And it had a 90-day money back guarantee. My friend like, yeah. My friend convinced me to try a green drink, and I never looked back since. I've never missed a day since that first green drink. Within a month, my husband said, "Oh my," he's like, "You seem happier. You're in a good mood." I was like, well, yeah, like everything just started falling in place, feeling better, having more energy, all that other stuff. And little by little, I went, and they have a whole 30-day program, and I went in, and that was all for myself, not for business. I was still loving my job. I love my coworkers. I still meet up with my coworkers, even though I'm not there anymore, because it was such a great environment. Salary was fine, but time wise with my family, I still don't have enough time for my family, what I have to do right now. So it
Oh,
worked out great that I had this option of turning this into a business. And little by little was happening before I even knew it, because people were like, Christine, you look great. What are you doing? I'm like,
right.
oh, Arbonne here. And I just gave them my link, and they shopped, and they felt great. And then they told their friend, and they told their friend, and it was growing without me even realizing it. And then all of a sudden I was like, what am I doing? I could keep growing this and be here for my family.
Yes.
And it just blossomed from there. I went all in.
Wow. And you went all in. And so now you're leading a wellness business and you're supporting women. Uh,
Yes.
Maybe even more so than you did when you were a nurse, and how does that make you feel? I mean, I know that you've already turned me on to this lip balm, and I have to tell you, I'm hooked.
This is one of my favorites. Well, oh gosh, it's all my favorites. But yes, I love that. It's a B Corp certified company, so everything on there is like beyond organic, beyond certification. Like so much testing. The quality is far beyond anything I've ever come across. But the other thing I like is like my one friend calls and says, "Oh my gosh, my doctor said whatever I'm doing, keep doing. My A1C has never been the best." Like,
Wow.
and the A1C is like when they do cumulative blood sugars, you know, for people who have
Oh,
their
yeah.
blood sugar, that she's got hers in normal range. Another friend who, you know, got off Pepsid. I mean, I'm not giving any medical advice. There's no medical guarantees. This is just a
It's just
nourishing.
things that you're doing, and this is
Yeah.
just people's journeys.
And mindset shifts. We have a whole community that helps women, like, and men. There are men that also are, you know, clients and on my team, but that they, it's going from the inside out. So you are what you eat, kind of, is the idea. That we have menu plans, registered dietitians, brain specialists. Like, I mean, everything you could think of, head to toe, estheticians. So many people working on our team all together to find solutions to what might be bothering you or what you want to improve in your life.
So are
So
these like Zoom calls that, we can join, that you put out, or how does
uh,
it work?
we do, we have different communities. Like right now we're doing radiate from within, because we have our new gummy multivitamin. I call it like the little fountain of wealth. I'm sorry, fountain of youth, which is a fountain of wealth because it's amazing. It's uh, uh, all about your having your cells hydrate and having your skin glow from within. But it's a whole community where women go into the chat and you can just sit there and listen, or you can participate. Sometimes we have fun games and stuff, but that's just like one chat. Then we do like planks and shakes. People like every day adding an extra plank and having your shake. We
Oh,
have all different diets, like recipes, carnivore, vegetarian, pescatarian, like whatever kind of diet you follow. There's different menu plans. It's larger than just a shake and a drink, but we all just start with the drink. Then all of a sudden we realize, and we dive into the lip balm next.
yeah. I love the lip fluffing balm. It's awesome. But yeah, I talk to a lot of people about, as we age and we get into our 50s and we start having the hot sweats, probably even in your 40s, for those younger women just beginning. And it lasts a long time, these
Very,
hormonal imbalances. So
yeah.
we're always looking for things without having to take, medication.
That's our her core line. It's phenomenal. Without TMI, I don't know if anybody's had to peel their PJs off, you know, in the middle of the night and get a fresh pair of PJs because they just sweated so much.
Yes.
Sweat. I started there. They have a system for each stage of your life, from cycle support to prenatal to menopausal support. Um, and within about a week or two, I didn't even think about it. I just started the vitamins because I only share what I love.
Right.
And if I don't use it, I don't share it. So there's over 400 products to share. But within 2 weeks, I woke up, I'm like, my pajamas were bone dry. Like, I didn't sweat at all last night, you know? So it was
Ah,
kind of funny that, you know, like, and I was just like, wow, it really, I saw all the studies, you know, that they did. And I'm like, okay, but, you know, seeing is believing, experiencing is believing. And I mean, I try everything, obviously, before sharing it, and everything has its 90-day, you know, guarantee, money back, whatever. That's where I started the green drink. But I was just blown away. And everybody I'm hearing about, salon owners, you know, raving about the shampoo, and I'm like, wow, you know, like it just makes you
I have
feel good.
shampoo too, just so you know.
Yeah, it's exciting when I hear people, you know, call back and tell me how great they're feeling and how much I'm impacting them. And I really do feel like I'm impacting people's health more now than I was before, because here it was like, here's this drug, this is this side effect, and you know, this is what we're doing, and here's, you know, and I'm not saying if it wasn't for medicine, my son and my husband wouldn't be here. You know what I mean? There's a place for everything in life, but I try to do everything as like holistically and naturally as possible. And that this company has everything we need. That's wheat free, gluten free. That means soy free. Everything's vegan. I'm not vegan, but all the products are vegan, which also just means it's one step higher because things that are not vegan, even though it's a piece of makeup you're not consuming, there could be like what we call roadkill, like
Yeah.
remnants is the companies buy, they melt it down and that's what they use for like the ingredients for like fats and stuff, and they relabel it a different
Oh my,
prettier name.
I don't even want
So
to
yeah,
know.
I know we won't go there. We'll keep it on the up.
But I'm glad it's vegan, so that's one less thing to have to worry about. Oh my gosh. I think that that's incredible what you're doing. And I mean, do you have a piece of advice for listeners overwhelmed, just by caregiving like you do, or burning out? Maybe one gentle, doable first step toward reclaiming their health. Is there something you recommend?
I through trial and error and through my bad experiences I'll share with you guys. Like when I feel myself like ready to explode, I'm like, oh my gosh, I go to snap at one of my kids. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's not it. Just take a breath. And one of the things, having a special needs kid, they go through all different kind of things, teaching them how to decompress, and the parents how to decompress, and he'll remember the tools, like, remember mom, stop and take a breath, and then but it's true, you stop and take a breath, do a stretch. And sometimes you can't even find that 5 minutes in a day for yourself.
Yeah.
Just go to the bathroom and take one extra minute in that bathroom. Don't open the door until you've taken a breath, cleared your mind. Do a stretch. I like one where you just lean against the wall, like a push up against the wall, and you just push and stress and push the stress away. Let it release from your shoulders, shake it, and then walk out of the room, refreshed. I mean, that's as simple as that. I mean, if you have time to quick run around the block, or but sometimes you can't always get away.
They
And there's
follow you. Sometimes I remember they'd follow me into the bathroom. I'm like, no.
yes, the dogs, even they bust open the door and sit on your feet. Like, oh, excuse me.
Exactly. The dog when it comes in, like waiting until you come out. It's like the dog, okay.
Yeah, try to find your time. Try to find that 5 minutes, but wherever you can to take that time, because I mean, again, like they say, when you get on an airplane, you got to put the oxygen mask on yourself first, or you're not going to be any good to anybody else.
Yeah.
So try
Yeah.
to remember that as well. And whatever it is that helps you feel better, put a smile on your face. A funny joke, laughter is the best medicine. Little kids laugh all the time. Adults, how many times do you belly laugh?
Right.
That belly laughing is good for your immune system. It's good for everything. Make sure you belly laugh every day.
Oh, I love that. I do. I love that. You're just so beautiful. Oh my gosh. And I would talk a little bit about, how you bring that love of life into your relationship with your husband, he's suffering, through the stroke, and it's your relationship is different now than it was even when he had the cancer diagnosis. And what does that look like? How do we learn to connect while navigating his recovery,
It's I mean it's a challenge still. I mean, every day. I mean, every marriage is a challenge no matter what's going on.
Well, it's
um,
true. Yeah.
but I mean, it's such a, like I said, he never was like in the house for more than 8 hours a day ever, always on the road. Now that he's here all the time, it's hard on him. I mean, we've always been friends, we've always been great partners, we've always balanced it, and we kind of worked that. I mean, and when I look back, I'm thinking like after 9/11, a lot of people changed. Like, we never ever leave each other without saying I love you. Like, even before that, like if we ever had an argument or something, like the whole thing, you never go to bed angry. It was
Yeah.
always, I love you, I don't care if I'm sitting in a puddle of mud, I'd rather sit in a puddle of mud with you than without you, kind of a thing. And no matter what, yeah, we're always friends, and always have that, no matter what, that we leave everything on a positive note.
Yeah, that's just beautiful. And I think, how you communicate, it doesn't always have to be in words or the way it used to be. Love shines through, I think, in every act, in every expression, in just, everything you do for each other, and I know his mobility is limited, but I'm sure he's encouraging you every step of the way. um,
Just
which,
before I got on here, it's like, go have a blast.
I love him. He's so sweet. That's awesome. If you could sit with a parent who just received a scary diagnosis for their child, what truth would you whisper to them?
I always have hope, and not everything's always going to turn out the way you want it to be. Sometimes it turns out better. Sometimes there's a different silver lining or a different meaning that needs to be learned from it. But always have hope, because what they tell you isn't always true with certain diagnoses. Like I said, they weren't sure if my son would eat, sit
Yeah.
up, or walk. And now he was like, Mom, can I have pizza for lunch? I just made him pizza for lunch.
And he's like, basketball is doing 3 pointers, right?
Exactly. He loves basketball. It's his favorite. And we have him on, it's special leagues, but he's on the basketball, baseball. We did the equine therapy since he's 3 years old, riding the horses. It's always just, take a step forward, take another step forward. Take another direction. That door closes, open another door. That closes, open another door. And if all the doors are closed, build your own door and bust out of the room, because
That's right. That's it. You got to break it down. You break through the wall, whatever it takes. I
yeah.
love that. Is there any like resources or communities, things that made the biggest difference for you and your family that maybe people just don't know exist or know about? Do you have any hints like that?
Oh my God, there are so many. I mean, if anybody, they could contact me through my website, whatever, but contact me just about that, not even about, any question on special needs, because there is I'm still learning. I mean, especially as he's getting older and different things. Um, each community, like where I live, the early intervention community, they have so many resources. They will direct you, especially if it's a young child, like pre-kindergarten age. They will, to have a caseworker come help you find and navigate your community's resources. Once they get into school, the schools will all have. You need to ask though, whatever your concern is. You might not know what it is you need, or you might not know what resources is there, but when you ask, then you will find out. Even still, just last year when everything was turning, well, upside down for us with my husband and my child, the school psychologist called to check on us and said, "Oh, well, we have this." And I'm like, "Oh, I didn't even know that was possible," kind of a thing, like, different, resources in the community that are available. So just always ask. There's somebody there's so many good people in the world. Like, people complain about this or that. There's so much more good than anything. And it is there. Ask your school, ask your pediatrician. Um, it's there. And depending what town you're in, there's different resources, and depending what state you're in, even more so different resources.
You
But
can't be afraid. You got to be vocal, right?
yes, in
And
the private communities, there's like for us, there's epilepsy groups, there's cerebral palsy groups, there's stroke survivor groups. There's so many different places that you can go.
oh, that's so great. I'm going to switch gears a little bit and try and lighten things up. And can you tell me about a song maybe that you play that gives you your lift or that always makes you happy or smile?
Mm. Well, I drive everybody crazy, but every time I get in the car, I always have my Caleb on. It's like Christian contemporary rock music, whatever. But I have to say, John Reddick, his "No Fear." I sometimes have to scream that out at times, because it's a great song, and I think he actually wrote it about, or during a time that his wife was going through an illness too. So really, I like that song. And there's a couple of different songs. With King Country, they have a couple of songs that really get me going and lift me up. And yeah,
That's awesome. You have a little dance party.
yeah.
Is there a book maybe that fills your cup or a book you'd recommend? I'm sure there's many, but one that you can recall.
Well, the first one that really helped me was "The Brain That Heals Itself," because that was one of the first books I read about for my son. Um, but there's been hundreds of books that have been helpful. Luckily, we live in a time that there's a lot available out there for us. But I would probably say that was probably my favorite book. It's amazing what the brain could do, the plasticity, and for all of us, not just someone, we can all keep going more and more. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I know, I know. How about your go-to comfort meal?
Pizza.
I love pizza too.
Easy and delicious.
Oh my gosh. All right, here's one. This is a good one for you. What's a 5-minute self-care habit that you swear by?
um, Probably to reset my whole mood, like that spa time in the shower.
Yeah.
I talk about like wash that day right out of your hair. It really it does it. I get in there with all my stuff and I feel like a new woman. Within like 30
Oh,
minutes, it's like wow, I've been reborn.
I love that. All right, what's one thing that you're really excited about right now?
Right now, gosh, I'm so excited about getting my one son ready for college, getting my
Mm,
others, well, soon next year, and but that journey of trying to find out where we're going. My other son getting ready to go to high school. My business is booming, getting ready to go to the next level there, and trying to see what the next adventure is going to be for our family. Trying to plan it all out.
all right, and finish the sentence. Hope to me is.
Love is like the first word that comes to mind. I don't know why, but I
Mm,
think with love, anything is possible. So hope is there.
I love that. I do. I think that's beautiful. And when you picture your family 5 years from now, what do you see that fills you with all of that hope?
I see my boys all smiling together and having fun and
Mm.
maybe on an adventure somewhere.
Ah, and if our listeners can remember only one thing from your journey, what do you want that takeaway to be?
Never give up. Always move forward. Always know tomorrow is going to be a better day no matter where you are. It's always a better day tomorrow. And
Oh,
I can't wait. Even if tomorrow's the worst day, it's going to get better the next day.
you get through the worst days, don't you? Sometimes you don't think in the moment that you're going to, but by putting that one foot in front of the other, you do. You get through it and you get to the next day. And
Just surprise yourself.
you do. All the time, I surprise myself by doing that. And very importantly, Christine, very slowly, I want you to tell our listeners how they can reach out to you to support you and learn more about Arbonne, but also learn about your journey and all the wonderful tidbits that you have for information. So, okay, go for it.
So you can contact me at Christine Neidhart. So that's my name, CHRSTINEIDHRT. And so it's Christine Neidhart .arbonne.com. And it's Arbonne, ARBONNE. So Christine Neidhart .arbonne.com. And you just click contact me, and I'll be happy to get back to you about anything you want to talk about.
That sounds awesome, Christine. And I know that Christine believes so deeply in supporting women's health that she will have a discount if you do order through her. But send her a contact and she'll tell you about the discount. And I end each interview with one of my son Scott's poems. And I picked this poem because it's about trying to be free, but feeling confined. And you can hear it in his words. I just thought it related a little bit to the situation that both your husband and your son, feel at times. And actually, frankly, all of us feel at times. So bear with me here as I read it to you. To the beautiful town of mine that falls to its own demise. Yes, there are substitutes for happiness: caffeine, marijuana, nicotine. But I still don't believe the fight I make to survive in a town where I don't subside into some random compromise where everything and everyone is okay, because they're not. People are faking it. Parents are making it. All you got to do is match everyone, or else you will be forsaken it. You got to dress like them. You got to talk like them. You got to walk like them. because that's the only way to survive in a town where everything is afraid of everyone. Now, if you try to defy these rules that have been locked up tight and you try to spread your wings, you try to fly, you'll be shot down by everyone you know and love. Because if you see like I see, then you will see right through the lies that are hidden behind this beautiful town of mine. And you will see you can't spread your wings and you cannot fly. But if your color isn't the same as lined paper and the Holy Lord Jesus Christ ain't by your side, you will be rejected, neglected, and never respected. There is too much restraint holding me back to be the best person I can be and strive to be. Too many people say I'm wrong when I know I'm right. I'm tired of being like everyone else when I know I can be better. It's time to get my hands wetter, perform better, and fight back. Because if I try hard enough, everyone will be a forgetter. They will forget those times when I messed up, fessed up, and I didn't dress up. Because I don't want to match everyone else, but I have to. It's not a choice anymore. It's a need. I can't catch that speed that I need to succeed if I let this town drag me down. 15
Yeah.
years old, he had a lot to say,
Oh my goodness.
It's one of those poems that I'm like, wow, I try and take it all in, but you could see that, just feeling constrained, just not being able to be who you are because you're constrained in whatever way into your body and limited by the town that you live in or just what fate has in store for you.
Yep.
It's just really, really interesting. And I want to tell our SOS community that Christine's story, I hope it inspires you and that you take advantage of her generous offers and know that she is resilience, like the definition of it. She is such a beautiful soul and person. And I feel so blessed to have had you on my show. And I can't thank you enough. And please join us next week on SOS Stories of Survivors, where survival sparks the soul. Thank
Thank
you
you so
so
much,
much.
Serina.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.